Hello, everyone. I'm Pamela Marshall at the Wellness Radio TV and at the Wellness Radio TV podcast on Sisters of Wellness on this Monday. So, SOW. This program is designed so that women can speak into the lives of families and other women of all ages. And I am so pleased to have with me as my guest tonight a woman that I consider a sage in this arena, in this University of Life, Miss Minnie Bomer in Covington, Tennessee. Hi, Miss Minnie.
Hi, Pam. Thank you for having me back.
Well, we asked Miss Minnie to come back because we had such a great response
Yes.
when you were here a few weeks ago. Everybody enjoyed you so much. And I just want to, we're going to talk about politics. We can talk about whatever you want to talk about, Miss Minnie, but we're going to touch on politics and your role in politics and the role of women in this political arena in the United States of America. Women have been in leadership roles in other countries, Africa, the continent in particular, and around the globe. And it is seeming that we are entering into this massive wave of women running and being elected. And I will say to you, you helped to pave the way for that.
Well, thank you for giving me that credit. But I just think that any woman that want to see changes, they'll get out there and make it happen. And I think that every woman, it has a change agent inside of her.
Well, and during the time that Miss Minnie, I know you don't mind me saying that you're 81 years young. So
No, don't mind at all.
during the time when you stepped into the political arena, it was more than just entering into politics. There were so many things happening with the civil rights movement and the fact that if you stepped out to try to impact change, you could be blackballed, you could be ostracized, you could not be able to find a job as you had to deal with.
That's right. But it was a question of I had to do it, Pam. I mean, uh, as I said to you on many occasions, that it wasn't that I was seeking to get elected. When we really got the city of Covington changed into districts, we were looking for somebody to run. And I was told about the Church of God in Christ pastor that he said, Miss Mama, why don't you run? You know more about this than anybody else. And of course, I never even thought about it until he said it at that time. And then when I got home from talking to him and told my husband, he said, Minnie, he's right. I don't know anybody could do a better job than you. And that's how I started, because two people that I respected said that to me. And that's why I decided to go ahead and try for that position. And of course, I was elected, although I had two men to run against me, two men that were in my same circle. Actually, they were part of the group that was trying to find somebody to run. And then after I said I would do it, because of the Pastor Rogers said I should, and then my husband said I could, then they decided, no, you don't need to do that. We need a
Oh,
man.
really?
They told me that. They said, no, we don't need a woman to go up there with those men. I said, are you saying I can't do it? They said, no, we're just saying that it ought to be a man up there. I said, well, if you're not saying I shouldn't, that I can't do it, then I'm going to do it. And I ran against two of them and beat both of them.
What year was that?
That was in 1983.
In 1983, and two men that look like you.
They look just like me. That actually were looking for somebody. They were supposed to be out finding the best person in our district to run for the seat. And they said that they were the best people, not me. And so I said, well, if you're not saying I can't do it, that if you're saying that I have that I can do it, but you just don't think I should do it because I'm a woman, I can't go along with that. And I didn't. I didn't.
So what did that do to the relationship between you and those gentlemen? And I call them gentlemen.
It was kind of contentious for a while, but after I won, they realized that this is who she's there, so we better get on board, and they did. They did, but in 2 years, the other guy ran again, so that was all right too,
And you
because we could
did?
have two people. It was
Oh,
a
he
four
ran in
year
another.
term. It
Okay.
was 4 year term, but it was revolving. So 4 years with me being elected 2 years before this next guy. But he did. The two guys that tried to win, they didn't get elected. Another guy got elected that was part of my helping me to get elected. So and he only served for 4 years, and then one of the guys that would came on board next.
So, Miss Minnie, 1982, 83,
Hmm.
it seems as if um, even then that there have been all of these changes with civil rights. Still, people had their ideas about what a woman could and could not do in the political arena. I found it very interesting when I read about voting rights for women that men said that women didn't have the capacity to understand complex political issues. So to allow women to vote would be a wasted vote.
Yeah, but we as women have learned not to listen to those kinds of things, especially when you know better. You don't allow anybody to tell you what you can't do. Nobody can tell you what you can't do, especially if you know what you can. And
So
I
for
encourage all women to always do what they feel is the right thing to do.
So, Miss Minnie Bomer, you were elected, and because you had worked in the community to change some the landscape, the public policies rather that impacted people of color, and now you're sitting on this governing board with men that you had to go up against to get those policies changed. How was
Yeah.
that for you?
Well, it was enlightening for me because here you have all these ideas about how smart these people are. You have these ideas that they know so much more than you do, and then when you get there, you find out they don't know as much as you do about a lot of things, and that was eye opening for me because you had a banker and you had a businessman and you had some other people there that you really thought were really really smart folk, and you found out that they weren't as smart as you are. So that was enlightening for me. But I learned how to deal with them. I learned that because I had always been there against them, really campaigning for my people to get some things, that I realized that they were at first that they had to learn me as work to work with them. And what I learned is that in order for me to get some things done, I had to first of all cultivate somebody that I could get to take my ideas, and that's what I did. I just the guy that was my worst enemy before I got on the board. I started telling him my ideas and things that I thought that would be good for Covington, and let him take the ideas, and then I second the motion, and we
Miss
got a pass.
Miss Minnie Bomer, a trailblazer in Covington, Tennessee, and Tipton County, but her influence has reached way broader than that. What do you think right now in this moment in time and where we are? Why is it that you think that women are now feeling the power to step into the political arena, to throw the proverbial hat, throw our wigs in the political arena?
Well, I think that we've tried to wait for men to step forward and do the right thing, and they haven't. And I think that most of us know that if we want something done, we have to go ahead and try to do it ourselves. And that's really, I've been really proud of so many women that have stepped forward and say, this is how it's going to be, and we're going to make it happen. Um, Stacey Abram is a person that, when I think about how they treated her when she ran for office, and how they actually took the election from her. But she didn't sit down and she didn't get mad. She got back, got out there and got votes and made and changed the um, whole of Georgia. And she probably would not have had the time if they had elected her when she was supposed to have been elected. But they they gave her the opportunity to show that you don't take anything from me and expect me not to get out there and try to get it back. And that's what she did.
What a powerful message that she's sending.
That's right.
You don't quit.
That's it.
She
you
decided.
you organize, and that's what she did. She organized and got like-minded people with her, and really got people out to vote that probably never thought that they would vote. And she's done that. She did that because she knew that it was not fair, is what they did to her. That was just awful what they did to her. And but most people would have gotten angry and said, well, I'm not going to be bothered with it. But she didn't do that. She got out there and showed them what could happen.
Miss Minnie Bomer, as Stacey Abrams and so many other people have made these strides to get people registered to vote, and now we have these voter restriction laws that are being passed across the country. What do you say to women and people of color to encourage them to work even harder, as Stacey did, um, to make sure that we still show up at the polls?
I think they should use whatever is at every tool that's available for them. Call their legislators and tell them to vote for the John Lewis bill. They need to do that. I mean, the voters' right bill is a bill that's for all of us. That bill will give all of us an opportunity all over the country to not have restrictions. And I think that we as people in the community can do a lot by just saying that this cannot happen what you all want to happen. Yeah, they can pass the laws, but they can't make them work unless we cooperate. And we don't intend to cooperate for anybody to be able to take things away from us anymore. I'm really excited, Pam, about all the young women that I see that's out there that's doing some things. You know, every day when I turn my TV on and news and look all the young women like yourself and others that are really getting out there, putting a message out that you can do, you can be, you can accomplish anything that you really want to do. And I'm excited about that. I just think that things are going to get better. We can't keep talking about what's bad. We got to talk about what can happen and what's good.
What do you say to people who are watching and listening who may think, oh, I'm not into politics? I'm not in, that's what somebody else does.
We all are into politics, whether we want to be or not, Pam. Politics plays a part of all of in all of our lives. You when you're born, you know you had to have a birth certificate. You had to get a social security card. And when you die, you got to have a death certificate. So that's all part of government, you know, whether we want it to be or not. And government is politics. And how we are treated is how much we allow people to treat us. So I go with the program that if something is wrong, you try to correct it. One person makes a difference. People, everything that's ever started, every kind of anything that was worth getting done started with one person. Rosa Parks refused to get up on the bus, and we got desegregation of buses. That was one person, one time, deciding that I'm not getting up this time because she was tired. And then I think about Fannie Lou Hamer, who is my very favorite person in the whole world when she went to the Democratic convention because they wasn't allowing her delegation to take a seat. She said, I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired. When you get
Yes.
sick and tired of being sick and tired, you do something about it. You refuse to take what people are giving you. And that's what I say to anybody that refuse to allow somebody else to determine what you will do.
Miss Minnie Bomer, you have received so countless awards and recognition over your time in serving the community. Which of those that stand out most to you?
The award that means the most to me are the awards that I've gotten from young people. Actually, I got an award of outstanding member of my church. It came from my youth group, and that was beautiful to me. But if you, the thing that matters, that has mattered to me more than anything else, is the hearing young people that came through the Children and Family Services while I was there. I was there for 20 years, and so I got a chance to see a lot of young people come through there. But what makes me feel good is those young people. When I hear when somebody comes up to me and says, "Miss Bowman, I know you don't remember me, but I was in your Bright Futures program, and this is what I'm doing now." I have had countless of young folk do that. And Pam, that's what makes me feel good about everything. Everything that I maybe made a difference. I made a big difference in somebody's life where they understand that I am somebody. When Jesse Jackson said that years ago, it started that I am somebody. I already knew because my teacher had told me, and my parents had told, my mother had told me, my grandmother had told me. But I started believing that everybody should feel like they're somebody, and that's what I try to put into other children, to the children that came through our center. And when those children come back and say to me, "I really appreciate you, Miss Bowman," it makes me feel good.
Josette Jenkins Golette in Texas is watching and says, good evening. She started a program. She's a fashion designer and started a program for young fashion designers. And as
Wonderful.
you were talking about what you did for young people, if we're not pouring back into the lives of other young people, people, period, then we're just existing, waiting for our final exhale. And Darius Marshall in Detroit, thank you for watching. Please share this with others. I think as even as I look at family members of mine, there are so many people who could easily step into the political arena. And I think people just think that's not for me, but how are we going to change if it doesn't become for you?
You're right about that, Pam. I think that's what we have to realize, that all of us, every one of us, make a difference in somebody's life. You think that people are not watching you, you'd be surprised how many young people are watching just things that you do every day. And it makes a difference to them how you act. I always, and I said this before, that I would rather be respected than liked. So I try to make sure that every person that I come in contact with respects me, because I try to say what I mean and mean what I say, and try to make sure that I'm speaking my truth. I can't speak yours, I can speak mine. And then I can act on my truth. And if I feel about something really passionately, I need to act that way. And I need to help other young people see that same thing.
How do we encourage young girls, young women to step into this role? As I think about former presidential candidate Senator Hillary Clinton and see the number of women who voted against her. Not that you just want to vote for a woman because she's a woman. However, if you do, you do. There are men who vote for men just because they're men.
That's it.
And that's an interesting point.
And,
Why
and
is it that nobody says, did you vote for a man just because he was a man? But if you vote for a woman or if you vote for a black person, then you have to explain, did you vote for them because they were black or just because they were a woman? Isn't that interesting that we need to explain our vote?
it's interesting. It's really interesting if you bother to explain. My thing is that
If you bother to.
if you bother to do it, because my thing is, don't bother to do it. They don't do it, and so why should I bother to do it? And I don't. I mean, what I do, I do. Look at me. This is who I am. This is what you get. You get who I am, and that's anybody everywhere, and everybody that knows me knows that about me. That I am who I am, and I believe what I believe, and I try to show what I believe. I try to live what I say. Because now you ask about how you get young people. Young people look at what you say. They look at what you say. You say one thing, you better be doing what you say, because that's how they judge you. Because don't we do the same thing though, Pam? Don't we
Hmm.
judge other people? You know, if I tell you, Pam, that I'm not going to lie about something, then I turn around and lie about it, you're not going to believe me anymore.
Right.
Yeah, and that's what young people do. They want you, if you want to tell them how to do something, you better be doing what you tell them. Because
And,
that's what they go by.
and when we talk about young people today, with the civil rights movement was called the young people's movement.
It was. I was young
However,
at that time too. I was
yeah,
young and I was unafraid, at that time. And I'm not, but I've not never been afraid, because I always feel that you don't have anything that you can't lose. You know what I'm saying? And I grew up feeling that way. Once I got in the civil rights movement, I felt like I had nothing that I couldn't lose, even my life, because I'm
hmm
a Christian. And
hmm
because I'm a Christian, if I lose my life, I'm going to have a better one. So I
gotcha.
never was afraid. I really wasn't. Now, my mother was afraid for me a lot, but I wasn't afraid for myself. I really wasn't. And I think that those of us that are committed to doing what we know is right and doing it the way that we want to do it, you just don't be afraid. You just do it.
That seems so easy to say.
It
Just
does.
do it.
Just do it. That's it. Just do it. And don't ask anybody to do something that you wouldn't do yourself.
So
That's
when
another thing that it bothers me when people expect you to do something that they themselves wouldn't do. I
so,
think that's why I get mad at politicians. They want you to live off. They want people to live off of $7 an hour, and they don't even want to live off of $25 an hour. You know what I'm saying?
hmm hmm
So, nah, you don't ask people to do what you wouldn't do yourself.
as we're seeing this wave of women entering into the political arena and getting elected, what do you think will be the change that we will see as a result of more women in leadership roles in politics?
I think that you're going to see a more cohesive society. I really believe that, and I think you're going to see with women are more compassionate. I think we'll see compassion, but I think that we as women are realistic too. That we realize that you gotta earn what you get. When you earn what you get, Pam, you appreciate it a lot more. No, nobody wants everything given to them, and I think that when we give too much to people, they take that for granted, and I don't think that you should do that. I really think that you give people the opportunity, give them the chance to earn what they get, and make them feel good about what they are doing. And I think that this world it'll be a lot better when women are in control. And I think there will be. I do. I think they're gonna be.
So, what do you say that you learned along your journey that you can share with other young women who may be thinking, maybe I can just do this?
I learned of what I learned in church, Pam, that you treat others the way you want to be treated. I really believe that. Not the way they treat you, but the way you want to be treated. You treat others that way. I really believe that when the Bible says you reap what you sow, I believe that. Those are true things that comes from the Bible. And if you live your life where there's some truth, and see, to me, the truth comes from having a be grounded in a faith. And I don't say you have to be like me, but I do say you got to believe in something, because whatever you believe in, that's how you're going to act. And if you really believe that others are as good as you are, you will treat them that way. And if you treat people that way, then people won't be, they won't be ugly to each other all the time.
So, because it's thought and we have been led to believe that women are so much more emotional, and as was thought before women were even given the right to vote, let alone run for office, that because of our emotions that and lack of understanding, that the issues were too complex. When women are thinking about, women have that to overcome because that's been ingrained in our society, just in how women have been treated. Wouldn't you say? And so you got to get over that hurdle, and then you have to get over the hurdle that I am a brown woman, not just a woman, but I'm a brown woman stepping into this arena. What do you say to women to encourage them?
Well, what I do is I think about the brown women in my life, my grandmother and my mother, my teachers. Those are people that made a big impact. Those were strong women. And as far as being passionate, or as far as being emotional, emotion comes from the passion that you have. There's nothing wrong with being passionate. And you don't, here again, go back to, you don't allow others to dictate how you act, how you feel. It's nothing wrong with being emotional about things. If you see somebody hurting, you ought to be emotional about that. And just because men want to be stoic, let them be stoic. But you be who you are and bring what you are to anything. And once you do that, you don't have to worry about a stereotype. You just be who you are, because our strong black women have brought us. When you talk about women of color, my grandmother and my great grandmother, my aunts and my and my teachers, those were people, Pam. They were dynamic folk. And I can bet you any woman that you say have made it had some strong women in their corner, especially if they're brown or black women. I know that. I don't even have to guess about it. I bet you every woman that have made it any place that people are calling them a success, they can name at least 4 or 5 strong women that they pattern themselves after. I can ask you the same thing. I bet you can tell me some teachers. You can tell me some women. You can tell me some people from your church. You can tell me that, and I know that. And there is not a single woman that won't tell you the same thing.
And so, because of those women
That's right.
whose whose aprons we've sat on
That's
and
right. And
listened,
yes, and they were passionate, Pam.
hmm
They were emotional too, and
and
they
they
would.
told you the truth.
They sure did. And my grandmother never ever had raised her hand to me, but she could talk to me, Pam. She could sit me in a corner when I did something that I didn't like, that she didn't like, and she started talking to me and made me know who she was and who I am and how I was supposed to represent her, and
Yes.
asked me when emotion come. You understood, and you would cry. You would.
Yes.
Just like you had got a spanking or something.
Like, please just spank me and get this over with, huh?
Yeah. Go, don't talk to me anymore, please. Don't. Yeah.
So that's where, so we have that, but it's also very expensive to run for office today.
Oh, it is. It's very. And
So
that's why I wish they'd get that money out. I wish they would get those dollars, those dollars you can't identify coming from people that's buying elections. That needs to happen, Pam. It does. And I think if women ever get in control, it will happen. They'll get it out.
so how do you find the resources to step out? Somebody who might be listening might say, I'd like to, but I don't know how to even start. I don't even know where to get the money.
You start from your circle. You start from where you are, the people that you know, the ones that are encouraging you to do it. They start helping you. You let them help you. Then you encourage them to ask others to help you too. That's how you have to start. You always have to start from the beginning inside and then work out. That's what I think. I mean, I can't speak for everybody, but I know that that's the way that I think it ought to be. This way you get true people, true money. You get the people that really want you to be there, and they'll help.
In our final minutes before we go, we're my guest on Sisters of Wellness this Monday, Miss Minnie Bomer, who was so many firsts throughout her journey in community activism, in the political arena, opening doors, refusing to let them close back when they open. As a matter of fact, you stepped down from the council in 2020, but there's another woman there now.
That's right. And I refused to step down until another woman got there. And we have another woman there.
Really?
I just think sisters have to help each other. I do. I believe that. I believe that you need it's an obligation. We have an obligation to pull others with us. And you
Sisters
can't
helping sisters.
yeah, you can't bring everybody along because there are people, and I realize that there are some people that want to be the only. I've never felt that way. I don't want to be the only. I want to be. I don't want to even be the first anymore, and it shouldn't be any first now. It ought to be people that ought to be able to walk in behind somebody that's already been there. But it's still a lot of firsts that we have to have now.
There's
But
still a lot of firsts that need to be had.
yeah, and that's unfortunate. We need to be able to pull people with us all the time and not worry about what people are saying or thinking. Because I don't need to have another woman. Yes, you do. Yes, you do. Get because women understand each other, and let's pull women with us. I talk about, I talk to you about the young women, the 6 young women that have chosen me, and I'm just so grateful to them, man. And I look at them and see the kinds of things that they are doing. You know, one of the young ladies worked in a campaign this past campaign for our president, and she worked from Tipton County, but she was able to turn to in Wisconsin, be able to turn a rural county in Wisconsin completely Democratic.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah, and she did it from here, and
Wow.
because she had worked for one campaign, and they saw what a wonderful job she did in the primaries. And they when we got to the general election and Biden was the top, they asked her to come and do it, and she did it. She did it.
Any of those
That's one of
ladies,
my girls. That's one of mine.
I know, that's what I'm about to ask you. Any of those looking to run for any positions?
She is one that I was thinking that might, but she says she really likes being behind the
Oh,
scenes
okay.
to
Okay.
push. Yeah,
Gotcha.
and but there are two others. Well, one of the young ladies, the one that is the pharmacist, she was well. We have one of the young ladies that was mayor. She was the first black woman mayor in West Tennessee, a little town in Mason. Mason, you know what Mason,
Oh, yeah. She
yeah,
was the
well,
mayor of Mason,
she was mayor of Mason for 2 years.
home of Gussie's Fried Chicken.
That's right. She sure was. Gwendolyn Kilpatrick was the first black mayor in rural West Tennessee. Woman,
Wow.
rural black woman was the first
Excellent.
black mayor and did a wonderful job. And then you have the one that's a pharmacist, the young lady that's a pharmacist, Dr. Kaneko. She sat on the council with her. She was one of the aldermen, and she served for 4 years with her.
So, Miss Minnie, we've talked about people making the decisions to run. Talk to those who are watching and listening, because not everybody is going to, not everybody wants to, but everybody can contribute. Talk to talk to us about supporting women that are stepping out and accepting the incredible role and honor of servant, to be a servant leader. And but those who can support, whether it's financially or encouragement, but mainly financially. I think sometimes,
Yeah.
especially in the African American community,
Yes,
we do not give to political campaigns, but when people get elected, we want them to answer the phone.
that's right. And Pam, you'd be surprised what $10 a month or $10 a week. Can you imagine if we had 20 women that would give $10 every week to a campaign? You see, that's money. We say we don't have that much, but every little bit you have helps. And so, if what I would tell any woman, if you don't want to run, then you can't give much money. Give what you can, but support by talking up the woman that's running. Don't tear her down. Build her up. And so often we because we don't understand it or don't want to do it, we give we talk about people that are doing it, and you can't do that. Women can't afford to do that. They really can't, because it takes a lot out of a woman to run. It really, you gotta want to do it, and you gotta stay in there and do it. And so that's what I would say. They can give them a small amount, and they give it on a consistent basis. It'll help, and then get their friends to do the same, and then don't talk negative about the person that's running.
Ah, I remember when I ran for city council, and I met one woman wanted to have breakfast with me, and she said to me, "Pamela, from this moment forward, you have no feelings." I didn't understand what she meant, but in order to push forward, you cannot be moved by the negative talk that the opponent or anybody else has to
Yeah.
say.
What was that said during the civil rights era? You have no permanent friends, no permanent enemies, just a permanent agenda. That's what
But
we have. As women, we have no permanent friends, no permanent enemies, permanent agenda. If we want to move ourselves forward, we got to stop letting little things hurt our feelings. We got to stop staying mad at somebody forever. And you got to move and try to support any woman that if she has something in her campaign that you like, dwell on that, not all the other stuff that you don't like. That's what we got to do.
I love that. No permanent friends, no
No
permanent
permanent enemies,
no permanent enemies, just a
permanent
permanent agenda.
agenda. Uh-huh.
I
And
love
that's
that.
not original for me. I wish it was, but that was said back in the 60s, and we stayed with that. No permanent friends, no permanent enemies, permanent agenda.
A
I think it
permanent
was Jesse
agenda.
Jackson. I think Jesse Jackson coined that. I think it was Jesse, but I know it was back in the 60s, and you had to always remember that too often we get hung up on who our friends are, and they said this last time and they don't like this about this. You remember that all of this is about making all of us, not some of us, all of us be able to move ahead.
Well, that needs to be our mantra, period, along this journey.
Yeah,
Um, I will say to you, Miss Minnie, it is always a pleasure to um, be a saucer underneath your cup and enjoy the overflow. And I appreciate you sharing the overflow with our audience this evening on Sisters of Wellness.
Pam, I appreciate you, and I've told you this so often that you make me proud. You make me proud that I know you. You make me proud that you think I have something to say, that I could say it to all the people that you touch. And I'm just
Mm.
glad that I came into your orbit. Thank you.
Well, I could not have done what I have done or continue to do, had you not gone and cut down a lot of trees and laid down some pavement so that the road was smoother for me. So I honor you, Miss Minnie Bomer, and I thank you so much.
Thank you, Pamela.
Thank you for joining us. And everybody watching, I really appreciate you all joining us for this edition of Sisters of Wellness. Please like and share. And the nugget that Miss Minnie left with us, get involved. Don't think that it's somebody else's turn to do it. It is your turn.
That's
And if
right.
you're not going to be the one with your name on the signs in the yards, help buy some signs
There you
so
go.
that that person's name can be in the yards, and then volunteer to help put them out.
That's right. You
It,
said it.
there is so much help that's needed and so much work to be done, and we can be the change that we want to see.
There
No
you go.
permanent friends, no permanent
And it's
enemies, just
just
a
a permanent agenda.
permanent agenda.
That's it.
Thank you all for
Thank you, Pam.
watching. You're welcome. Thank you all for watching, liking, and sharing. Until next time, I'm Pamela Marshall at the Wellness Radio TV and at the Wellness Radio TV podcast. Remember, there is healing at the well. You do make